Today I will tell you a story of Prince Siddhartha, which emphasizes his role as a teacher and his commitment to compassion for all beings. Once upon a time in the deep forest, Siddhartha was eating his meal with Sujata when he saw a village boy named Swasty. Swasty was a poor boy who always led his buffaloes to graze grass in the field. Siddhartha offered to share his food with him. Swasty joined his palms together in thanks, but refused the rice. He took out his own humble rice and said, "I've also brought some." He opened his banana leaf to reveal coarse grains of brown rice, unlike the soft white grains on Siddhartha's leaf. Siddhartha smiled at the two children and said, "Shall we put all our rice together and share it?" He put it all together and began to eat it with obvious delight. Swasty felt awkward, but seeing Siddhartha's naturalness, he began to eat as well. After they finished eating, Sujata took a jug of fresh water from her side and poured some into the only cup she had brought. Siddhartha offered water to Swasty first, even though Swasty was an outcast. Swasty felt confused, but didn't know how to refuse such an unaccustomed honor. He joined his palms in thanks and took the cup. He drank all the water in one long gulp. Siddhartha then drank from the cup after Swasty, and then offered the third cup of water to Sujata. Sujata joined her palms in thanks and accepted the cup of water. She drank from the same cup as Siddhartha. She was aware that this was the first time she had ever drunk from the same cup as an outcast. But Siddhartha was her teacher, and if he had done so, why shouldn't she? And she noticed that she had no feeling whatsoever of being polluted. Then Sujata finished drinking her water. Siddhartha nodded. People are not born with caste or religion. Everyone's tears are salty, and everyone's blood is red. It is wrong to divide people into castes and create division and prejudice among them. This has become very clear to me during my meditation. Sujata looked thoughtful and she spoke, "We are your disciples and we believe your teaching. But there does not seem to be anyone else like you in this world. No one dares to think differently." Yes, I know. But the truth is the truth whether anyone believes it or not. Though a million people may believe a lie, it is still a lie. You must have great courage to live according to the truth. Let me tell you a story about when I was a boy. Siddhartha said, "One day, when I was 9 years old and strolling alone in the garden, a swan suddenly dropped from the sky and writhed on the ground in front of me, in a great pain. I ran to pick it up, and I discovered that an arrow had deeply penetrated one of its wings. I gently removed the arrow from its wing and cleaned the wound. The swan was frightened and in pain, but I applied pressure to the wound with my finger to stop the bleeding, and took the bird inside the palace. I was about to go find some rice for the swan when my 8-year-old cousin, Devdatta, burst into the room. He was clutching his bow and arrows, and he asked excitedly, "Siddhartha, did you see a white swan fall down near here?" Before I could answer, Devdatta saw the swan in my hand. "You may not take the bird," I said. My cousin protested, "That bird is mine." I shot it myself. I told him, "This bird is wounded. I'm protecting it. It needs to stay here." Devdatta was quite stubborn and not about to give in. He argued, "Now listen, cousin, when this bird was flying in the sky, it didn't belong to anyone. As I'm the one who shot it out of the sky, it rightfully belongs to me." "Listen, cousin," I told him, "the swan belongs to the sky. It is free to fly wherever it wants. How can you claim to own it? Those who love each other live together, and those who are enemies live apart. You tried to kill the swan, so you and she are enemies. The bird cannot live with you. I saved her, bandaged her wound, warmed her, and was on my way to find food for her when you arrived. The bird needs me, not you. As we couldn't agree on our own, we decided to take our concern to the adults. We presented our problem to the ministers and asked them to render judgment. The affairs of state came to a halt as the men listened, first to Devdatta and then to me. They discussed the matter at length, but they also were unable to agree. The majority seemed to be leaning towards Devdatta when my father, the king, suddenly cleared his throat and coughed a few times. All the ministers suddenly stopped speaking. With total accord, they agreed that my argument was correct and that the bird should be given to me. Devdatta beside himself with anger, but of course, there was nothing he could do. I had the bird, but I wasn't really happy. Even though I was still young, I knew my victory had been less than honorable. I was given the bird because the ministers wanted to please my father, not because they saw the truth of what I said. That's so sad, Sujata said and frowned. Yes, it was. But turning my thoughts to the bird, I took comfort in the fact that she was safe. Otherwise, she surely would have ended up in a cooking pot. Siddhartha then explained, in this world, few people look with the eyes of compassion, and so we cruel and merciless toward each other. The weak are always oppressed by the strong. I still see that my reasoning that day was correct, for it arose from love and understanding. Love and understanding can ease the suffering of all being. The truth is the truth, whether or not it is accepted by the majority. Therefore, I tell you children, it takes great courage to stand up for and protect what is right. What happened to the swan, teacher? Asked Sujata. When I saw that her wound had healed, I cared for her and released her, after warning her to fly far away, lest she be shot again. This story teaches us about the importance of compassion and kindness. Siddhartha showed compassion for the wounded swan, even though he knew that it would not benefit him in any way. He also showed kindness by releasing the swan back into the wind, where it belonged. Here are some specific teachings from the story. Everyone is equal, regardless of their social status or caste. We cannot own things that are free. The swan belonged to the sky, just as we belong to the universe. We should be kind and compassionate to all beings. We should stand up for what is right, even if it is unpopular. We should be courageous in our beliefs. The story of the swan is a reminder that we all have the potential to make a difference in the world. We can all choose to be kind and compassionate to others, and to stand up for what is right. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you with the next story. Till then, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Do not forget to press the bell icon for latest story updates.